To help us start the update for today in looking at the importance of cybersecurity for businesses, we are joined by Taonga Chisamanga, who is Information Systems Audit and Control Association, Isaka Lusaka chapter, and he will be looking at this in detail. I'd like to welcome you to the update.
Thank you so much, and I'm happy to be here.
An important week that we are observing. Just talk to us about how this week also incorporates in the Zambian markets today.
Okay, so this is International Fraud Week, and us as Isaka, we are part of a global network which spans over 200 countries, and we have a membership of over 300 in Zambia. So we are an organization that promotes governance, risk and assurance, as well as cybersecurity, and we offer resources and training around cybersecurity, fraud, compliance, risk management, governance. So we're a global organization that's actually trying to promote digital trust. So in terms of digital trust, as we are in Fraud Awareness Week, we are part of the team that is actually going to help organizations to set up their governance programs, their cybersecurity programs, and then also go to the lower ends and try to assist with the awareness as well, and work with the corporate organizations in terms of partnering with our strategic partners, who are mainly of course, the multinational companies that we have in the country, the government, both private and public sector. So we've been actually doing a lot of work in the background, and we are growing as an association. So in celebration of International Fraud Awareness Week, we of course are carrying out some campaigns in terms of just assisting people be aware of what frauds are happening out there. You know, the more we become digital, a lot of people are being defrauded, and this is happening from the top echelons of the country to the lower echelons of the country. So what we're trying to do is just promote that awareness and make people know that there's actually people who are trying to defraud them as they're trying to use these digital systems.
Let's look at cybersecurity and what it is. And I ask this because for a long time we're talking about the cyberspace, the digital space, but not much was spoken about in as far as the security around this booming platform. Let's talk about the security and what it entails.
So cybersecurity is basically, in the basic sense, is basically safeguarding or protecting your digital systems, your networks, your data from theft or damage or unauthorized access. So when we talk about theft, damage, or unauthorized access, that's where we have issues there now. I think as a country, you can see the government is digitizing. A lot of organizations are digitizing. You have your mobile money. You have your e-government now. You know, before you would buy your road tax, you have to queue up at RATSA, but now you can do it. You can do it through the e-government platform. What does that mean? That introduces new risks around security. We're giving away our personal information, we're giving away our private data. So that data needs to be safeguarded in order to protect the consumer. And organizations also have to be protected from unauthorized access, in that they face a lot of, there's a lot of damage that comes with you being hacked. For example, I can give you, you can suffer from financial losses as a business or at an individual level, or big organizations, you're looking at reputational damage. As I said, Isaka, we're talking about digital trust. So if people lose trust in that system because their personal information has been leaked, we are facing a big challenge in that particular space. You're also looking at operational disruptions. So if information is not available, then certain institutions cannot function. Or if a system has been hacked and it's not functioning, at that particular point, you're going to see an organization not being able to deliver the service that it's supposed to deliver to its end users.
When we look at the importance to a business, I'd like you to start from the boom that we've seen. We've seen a lot of empowerment programs and a lot of people forming cooperatives, for instance, starting to run these businesses, even on an individual level. How critical is it for people to get that knowledge of cybersecurity? Because I don't think it's one of the first things someone will think about when setting up a business.
Of course, I think if you look at cybercrime, it's on the rise. In 2022, we're looking at $8.4 trillion, and then it's actually projected to reach about 23.4 by 2027. So you can see that there's a lot of cybercrime that is going on, and it's on the rise. So whether you're a small business or you're a big business, it's of utter importance that you look at what controls are you going to put in place to safeguard whatever data that you're processing or whatever information that you're collecting in order for your end consumers to be protected, even you as a business to be protected. Because businesses, the biggest challenge that they're going to face as well, depending on which industry you're in, you're going to also have regulatory fines that you can face. So reputational damage is one of the things that I've talked about, financial losses. So if you're starting a business, it's of utter importance that you also look at your security posture. How are you going to protect that environment that you're going to be operating in? How are you going to safeguard your customers' data? How are you going to safeguard your data? How are you going to ensure that your business always has security? So security has to be part and parcel of the business development process. You always have to think about it, be it a software that you're developing. We're seeing so many apps that we're using these days. So you have to be able to say, how am I going to protect the consumers? How am I going to protect myself as a business? So it's of utter importance that all businesses actually focus on having putting security as part of their strategy. So if you see in most organizations now, security is actually a board conversation now. It's not just a conversation for the small business, it's a conversation which needs to be had at the highest levels of the business, where you do your strategic planning. So at ISACA, what we're simply doing is we're helping businesses align their business strategy with their ICT strategy and bringing them together. In turn, what happens is that you move together. You don't have your technology moving this side and the business strategy moving the other way. What this does is that it enables you to also, as you are discussing your strategy, you'll be also putting in place the security controls that you need to have in place, and you'll be able to protect that information.
Let's look at the divide. Already we say that there are a lot of people who have gaps in accessing the cyberspace, the digital space.
Yes.
But we're also talking about security, and the pockets that may have access may also fall prey to fraud and all these things. How do we bridge the gap, especially between the rural and the urban areas, in as far as harmonizing this information and making sure that everyone consumes it and knows the red flags in case they are victims?
Thank you. So in that particular aspect, the first thing we have to work on in terms of bridging that divide is, of course, working on the awareness. What has happened is that technology grows at a very fast rate. I'm sure you've seen how fast it grows. So what we need to do is now try to do that awareness and put people on alert and say, look, these are the type of frauds that are happening. This is how you protect your password. This is how you make a strong password. This is how you activate your multi-factor authentication to ensure that if your first level password is compromised, you're protected with another password that you only know or that is provided by another system. So for businesses, what we need to do is just that awareness needs to happen. How do we reach the rural areas? How do we reach the unreachable? So we need to go that far and just increase our reach in terms of awareness. And then the other aspect that you have to bring in is the service providers have to ensure that they're on the ground to assist the customers through your call centers, through providing awareness through the media. So we need to reach a point where if a child, I always say this, if a child in Chinama or in China doesn't know how to identify a fraud or a potential fraud which is about to happen, then we still have a lot of work that needs to be done. So we need to get to that level and start thinking of security as being part, even as we are doing our marketing of these products, we also ensure that the security aspects are also explained to the consumers.
What are some of the common fraud cases that we see, or in people breaching cybersecurity for a business, for instance?
So right now, probably one of the most common is ransomware. I'm sure you've heard of ransomware, which is quite common at the moment. Ransomware is where your systems are basically encrypted, or you're closed out of your systems, and you don't have access to your own data. So what that simply does is that it puts you in a very vulnerable and precarious position in the fact that you cannot access that data, so you cannot provide that service to your customers. So the other common one is email compromise, where we are seeing these phishing emails. Our emails but malware is being spread through our emails, and we are seeing that is actually on the rise. So these are mainly the common ones that we are facing. And then on the local scene, I think you've been seeing a lot of these what we call smishing texts. So which is what is known as smishing, where you're receiving these texts which say, you've received so or send this money to this number. So all of those are ways of trying to defraud people, because mostly you might be expecting that You are supposed to send money to someone, and someone says send on this number, and automatically most people unconsciously will just do it and send that money. So in that particular aspect, all of these have potential cures that we can use to actually eradicate them. So one of the main ones is also the one I've spoken about, which is awareness. And then when you look at cybersecurity, the main three areas of cybersecurity are looking at confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So in terms of confidentiality, also we're also looking at how do we ensure that our data is kept from unauthorized access. And then integrity, how do we ensure that this data is not altered? I think you've seen issues of disinformation, misinformation going on. So that's where your integrity comes in, and ensuring that that data is not altered either in transit or at rest. And then you're looking at availability. If you are hit with a ransomware attack, are you able to respond in the sense that do you have an alternative or a backup that you can use while the compromised system is being recovered? That could be part of your response, yeah.
Let's conclude in looking at what will spell success for cybersecurity in the country. I ask this because most of the time people will say even the hackers, the criminals behind these keyboards are advancing in their knowledge.
So first thing that needs to be bridged, I think, is the skills. We need more cybersecurity professionals in the country, as well as we are doing that to help us in terms of bridging that gap, because cyber criminals are obviously, as you've said, they're advancing each and every year. So what we need to do as well is advance. So what we do at ISACA, actually, we have a wide range of training programs that we provide, which actually assist us in terms of bridging that gap with the security skills that we have. There's I think, projected about 4 million jobs that are going to be available in cybersecurity in the next 2 years, but we don't have enough manpower to take up those jobs. With the rise of your artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all of these emerging technologies that are coming up, we just need to bridge that gap of building skills quickly. So we offer a wide range of certifications, such as our Certified Information Security Manager, which enables you to become an information security manager and gives you the necessary skills that you need to develop an information security program.
I'd like to thank you for coming this morning and giving us that insight. And we'll continue engaging you and getting more knowledge around cybersecurity and other related matters.
Thank you so much.
That is Tawonga Chisamanga, who is Information Systems Audit and Control Association, ISACA, Lusaka chapter. And we're looking at cybersecurity in a business and what you need to know.